Hey, you guys! Welcome to the HVAC Diaries. Hey, you guys! Welcome to the HVAC Diaries. I thought I wasn't going to do that. Well, this episode of the HVAC Diaries is brought to you by New Calgon. Did you guys have a good week? I think I'm in a really good mood today because spring feels like it's in the air. Like I can feel it everywhere and it just makes me so happy. Yes. I have some HVAC adventures to take you on, which is why you're here. So what do I have for you guys this week? In this vlog, I'm going to talk about the salmon hatchery that was left over from last week's vlog. So we were there last week and this week. So I'm going to talk to you about that. Also this week, we replaced a water source heat pump unit. I also had to replace a fan motor inside of a walk-in freezer at a frozen market, a frozen food market. The market's not frozen, the food is. We replaced filters at a multi-tenanted building. I think they've got 6 different tenants in that building. And I don't recall taking many videos at that job. It was literally just some filter changes and I don't think I took videos there. We also fixed some burned wiring on an air handler, and I did not take any videos of that job because it was so quick and easy and kind of lame. But I did bring the burnt pieces to show you guys. This was one of them, and this was the other one. It was just so poorly made. I did take one video of the connection, but yeah, look at that. That's just so burnt. The shellac is all like melted and stuff. Yeah, fun. Anyway, look at this connection. Somebody left it like this. This week I also received something really cool from Copeland Compressors. I'm going to show you that right now. Copeland Compressors sent me something really cool, and I'm going to show you what it is. This is a Copeland Scroll Compressor Training Kit. It is a scroll compressor that's broken down into its parts. It's basically a Copeland scroll compressor without the crankcase. It comes with this training booklet, which explains each of the parts and how they go together. For like the scroll assembly, I'll be able to take that apart completely and show you guys the 2 orbiting scrolls inside if you've never seen those before. And they include this cool little visual tool, which I'll explain in another video another day. And a bunch of QR codes for various videos and trainings. So if you're ready for some HVAC adventures, let's go. So we're heading to the salmon hatchery, where we're looking at this system that apparently has a refrigerant leak in it. There's a little heat exchanger on the side that cools down the water. But before I show you that job, I'm going to show you around the place because it's actually really cool. So they do like classes and seminars here where kids can come and learn about the salmon. There's a bunch of pools in the back there, I guess. A nice statue. Can learn all about the salmon. Look at the size of these waders. They're boots. Oops. They're boots that are the size of me. Here they've got this little display about the eggs and how they hatch. The water has to be kept at 10 degrees Celsius. Cool. How cool is that? So this is the system we're working on here. And first of all, we want to figure out if we have a leak in this heat exchanger, which is quite complicated, but isn't at the end of the day really complicated. It's just a TXV and some distributor nozzles and stuff like that. So we're starting off with a leak test just with our sniffer before we do anything else to see if that shows us anything. And then we attached our gauges and we found that we were short. So the plan here is to recover whatever is left of the refrigerant inside this system and pull it out completely and kind of compare how many ounces we have compared to the nameplate. On the nameplate, we have 70 ounces.
And we pulled a total of about 40 out of this system. So we're done recovering all of the refrigerant. Our plan is to cut the refrigerant pipes and actually isolate the condenser from the heat exchanger. So I'm just cutting those pipes. And then what Trevor's going to do is weld in a little access fitting on either side so that we can pressurize both systems or both sides, and then we can see which side dropped pressure. So now those access fittings are welded in. We're going to bump up the pressure with nitrogen on both sides, and we're going up to about 300 pounds of pressure. And then you can see those access fittings that Trev brazed in for us. The plan is to leave both of these sides pressurized over the weekend, and we're going to come back next week to check whether we have dropped and whether it's on one of the components or on both. So we've got our 300 pounds of nitrogen in there almost. And then we're going to close her up and head out for the weekend. And because that was from last week's vlog, I have an update for you already.
Right, we check in this guy first. Wah, wah. Actually, that's really good for us. All right, let's check the other one. All right, we're on the other side now. That's not good news. We were hoping for 300 PSI.
So we have a confirmed leak in the condenser, and we've got one more check happening on the heat exchanger to just triple confirm whether there may be a leak or not.
So we have a confirmed leak in the condensing unit, which is exactly what we were hoping for, because replacing the condenser versus finding and repairing that heat exchanger is so much easier. So we were hoping that that would be the case. However, to be honest with you guys, when we checked the heat exchanger for our nitrogen pressure test, it was low. And so we were kind of, looking around there, and suddenly I'm like, can you guys hear that? And we could hear nitrogen escaping out of the Schrader valve. So we tightened the Schrader valve and put another nitrogen pressure test in there over the weekend, another 300 pounds. So it's still unconfirmed whether the heat exchanger has a leak or not. And fingers crossed that it doesn't. Regardless, next week we're going to change the condensing unit and take it from there.
Okay, on to the next one. We are heading to a water source heat pump replacement. Here's the new unit. We're all packed up, ready to go. Let's go.
All right, we are going around the corner, right?
We're really lucky that the office we're working in is under complete renovation. So we have no ceiling tiles to contend with, no furniture, and no people that are working there. And this is the unit that we are replacing. It's an old R22 system with a refrigerant leak that we actually put a leak stop in, and it bought us an extra 2 years, but now we are replacing him. But look at this view. That's the Vancouver skyline, and it is beautiful. That's Canada Place right there. Okay, back to work.
All right. What's that?
I'm starting with a control cable, which goes to the thermostat, and I always start with taking a photo just before I pull all the wires out, just to make sure I know what I'm doing when I put it back. Just gonna undo all of those wires and pull that control cable out completely. There's some cheese for ya. Just gonna yank it out carefully. There you go. Now it's Dad's turn. He is going to do the drain and the water lines. When there's 3 of us doing this job, everyone gets a little task. And we often fight over them. Okay, we're going to prepare the new unit. We just have to reconfigure the blower motor and where that blows out to match our ducting. And of course, Dad has to help me. Even though I can do this, I've done it before. Teamwork makes it easier, I suppose. Get the lid back on. You guys know I like to keep it interesting and fresh for you, so I got this cool little turning camera angle. All right, now we're going to set up the lift and get that platform on the top. And I don't know what we were doing here, but we were concerned about something.
Oh, we can add to shit. Okay, that's a problem.
How
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Goes through the wall.
Yeah, but is there wiggle room? There's no wiggle room.
We must have figured that out because we have pretty much everything disconnected except for the electrical. We were waiting for someone to turn off the breaker before we got into that. And now that we're free and clear, I'm just going to get rid of that disconnect and pull off all the electrical. And there's a great blooper at the end of this video. Trev's just loosening the bolts, holding this unit up. And now we are free to get rid of this unit. We're just going to swivel her around so we can drop her down properly. Beautiful. We're past all of our obstructions. We've got no wires dangling. Down she comes, nice and slow and steady. And there's a hole. Just gonna get that old unit onto the cart so we can wheel it away and be done with it. Bye forever. Now we do everything in reverse. We get the new unit onto the platform and send her up and hook her up, and then we're done. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a really good angle of the unit going up. It's just the way things are in this office. Trev's just secured those bolts on the threaded rod to hold her in place. It's awesome genie lift. And just a little bit of extra securing. Yeah, that makes sense. It's going to get started with that electrical and secure the disconnect box onto the unit. Now the control wiring from this interesting angle. And another interesting angle. I just love this camera. Okay, we're putting the system through a test mode in cooling and in heating. And we're going to call this one done. Dun, da, da, dun, dun.
Oh, where is it? There it is. There it is. Behind the light. Done.
All packed up and ready to go, and we're all kind of tired.
So when you're doing the wiring or programming for the thermostat on a heat pump, it's done a little bit differently to a regular system, which is called a conventional system. So these water source heat pumps, we have either Climate Master or we have Daikin McQuay. The Climate Master ones get wired and programmed like a regular heat pump, but the McQuay ones, which are also heat pumps, have to be wired and programmed as a conventional. Why would they do that? It's not confusing at all.
Trevor and I are responding to a service call at a walk-in freezer that has an evaporator fan that has died. And we try to be proactive by taking a couple of motors with us because we weren't quite sure which one we needed. But yeah, so this is the motor that we're changing. It's the one on the very left there. And this is one of the motors that we brought along with us. So we're just going to get this party started, get the cover off, get the blade off, undo the wiring, and pull the fan motor out. Great success! There's 4 tiny bolts that hold the motor onto the bracket, and I struggled with that bracket. Oh my goodness, I struggled. Actually, it's 2 pieces. It comes apart, that bracket. And I struggled. I tried to use tools to pry it open. Eventually, I had to get my brother's help, which really frustrates me. I want to do these things on my own, but look how much struggling we're also doing together. Finally, it just snapped off, and then I struggled with the second one, and then also that just randomly came off suddenly. Okay. So unfortunately, this new motor is not going to work because it's configured differently to the old one. The old one has got its mounting bolts on the back. The new one's got mounting bolts on the front. And sometimes they're universal. You can snip the ones off that you don't need. But this one is closed off. So there's no way we can use it, unfortunately. And we've got a 50-kilometer drive to get to our supplier. So here we go. We're going motor shopping. Okay, so this, not that one. This motor will work for us. It's one of those universal ones that I was telling you about. We're just going to snip off the bolts on the front. Trevor had an appointment to go to, so I headed back to our job site, had a lovely drive. And now I just have to get those brackets onto the new motor, and hopefully it doesn't give me trouble. It gave me a little bit of trouble. But I figured once I got both of those brackets on and I could get the bolts on, once I started tightening them up, the bracket actually tightened up to the motor as well. The new motor comes with a little plug, but I have to wire it into the existing wires. So we're just going to snip that plug off and snip the ends off so I can attach it. Okay, my motor is all ready to rock and roll. I've done all of this work outside of the freezer because it's bloody freezing in there. Let's get her back in. Here's where I'm just going to connect those wires that I cut. And it is so difficult to do this in a minus 20-degree freezer. My little fingers are burning and they don't want to work. So I stepped out a couple of times to just regain a little bit of heat. Whew. Chilly, chilly. Fan blade goes back on. Just got to find the right Allen key to lock that in place. And it's just so hard in the cold. All right, that is nice and snug. Gonna give it a test spin. Whee! Cover back on. All right, give it some power. Oh, it's so cold. Done. All right, I'm getting the hell out of here.
Well, you guys, that's all the stories I have for you this week. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the HVAC Diaries HVAC vlog. I look forward to seeing you guys next week at same time, same place. Bye. Why is there so much traffic here? What are all the cars doing? Just give me like 15 minutes. That's all I need. Stop driving past me. Cars, come on. Jeez. All right, let's quickly do this. Fast. Okay. Are you serious? Like, are you serious? The biggest freaking vehicles. There's a big Purelator car coming now. Hurry up. Let's go. Come on. I wasn't even that loud. All right, last job. Okay. And we also fixed some burnt, or not, yeah, they were burned. And we also fixed some burnt wiring on a air handler. And we also, they're Dyke and McQuay. Now, when we have a Climate Master one, you have to be there right now? It's cool. I can wait for you guys. There we go. Okay. This little supplementary part of the vlog that I've done is a little bit late in the afternoon, and so I have been contending with the sun, and this is my solution. I've got a towel. I've got a towel on my dashboard. See the things I do for you guys?
Electrical.
The Rothschild draft and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And he says, don't worry, I'll get pictures and send them to you.
I just don't know if I've got the strength to do that. Okay, the question is, can I do it or not? I'm nervous about my elbow grease again. What the heck?
What's that?
I'm looking for my flashlight that I had a second ago.
No, I can help you.
Yeah, what the hell? Shit, okay. Oh, I found my flashlight.
It was on my ladder.
I got a 516.
Sure, why not?
Might be better. Oh, I got another 516. You can do one of the.
Be stronger. That's just stupid. Found it.